We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180, 1230 KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. Our guest in studio is nobody. It's just Clay and I talking for the rest of the show. We had a great interview with Dr. Waleed Ferris, and our second guest had to change their schedule at the last moment, so it's Clay and I kind of rapping about a few things going on.
Well, that's politicians, when you have those on, they're always busy.
That's fine, and you and I need a little time once in a while to do this. I know we're going to talk about health care, but I want to intro it with something that the President said the other night in the State of the Union address. He was talking about, $50 billion in infrastructure spending, clean energy, improving manufacturing, savings from Medicare, his incredible health care, which he said has been a success so far.
Global warming.
Well, no. Global warming wasn't part of the equation I'm coming to here. But he said all these programs are not going to raise the debt by one dime, to use his phrase.
No, it'll be billions of dollars instead of one dime.
Well, I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck is this guy smoking? Is he going back to what he was smoking in college? This is good stuff.
Well, he still smokes,
Well, yeah, but I think he's smoking more than cigarettes. But now, as a healthcare professional, from what you see, do you think we're looking at a scenario where there's any way it's not going to raise costs?
There's no possible way it's not going to raise cost. I really feel sorry for the employers today. They have no idea what's coming. Maybe they do have an idea what's coming, but the increase in taxes to the insurance companies, to individuals, and to corporations and companies is just unbelievable. As an example, if you have 50 or more employees and you don't supply health insurance, you're going to get fined $2,000 per year per employee, $166 a month. If you offer a health benefit plan and it doesn't meet the government requirements and your employee elects to go to one of these exchanges, you're going to get fined $3,000. So, Mr. Employer, you're going to pay either $166, $250, or pay $300 to $400 to $500 to supply benefits to your employee. Well, the good news, Marty, the good news is that we have a plan, Alliance Brokers and Consultants, that we can deliver to an employer.
Your company.
We can deliver to an employer for around $100 a month that meets both the requirements of the employee not paying more than 9.5% of his income and meeting the requirements of the plan that the employer must supply.
Now, how can you do this for $100 a month?
It's around $100. It might be $104, might be $105. It's a fully insured medical program. It's qualified. And if people have an interest, they can call me at 855-799-9881. That's toll free, and ask for Clay, and I'll give you the information and get you a quote.
Clay, what's that number again?
It is 855-799-9881, toll free. This is a program that's affordable, saves the employer dollars, it meets the ACA, the Affordable Care Act requirements, and it's compliant. There's no potential employer tax penalty or ACA penalties or problems. It's a single administrative program. It's flexible, and we can offer 3 different plans in one program, but the employer is only responsible to pay around $100 a month for each employee.
And the crazy thing, Clay, is small businesses are going to have to do something when it comes to health care because
small businesses are not required.
Well, okay.
Under 50 are not required to offer health care.
Okay, I'm saying, when I say small businesses, I mean 50 to 100, which is pretty much the backbone of this country. Because, they're looking at, especially after listening to the president the other night, they're looking at a double whammy here. You're looking at tax increases on one end, then he's looking at raising the minimum wage from $7.25 to $9 per hour, which is going to cost jobs. Every time in history they raise the minimum wage, the unemployment numbers go up. You're at 8% now. Who knows what it's going to go up to if you bump up the minimum wage by $1.75. So where's the small businessman going to come up with this money?
I have no idea. I'm a small business person, as you are.
Sure.
And we're already seeing the increases in taxes and Social Security for our employees as well as ourselves.
Well, and I have a lot of clients in the restaurant business, and they're just screaming right now. They said, how the heck can we do this? Because you can't turn around and pass it on to the consumer, which is normally what you do, because people are at the breaking point. They're not going to be able to afford higher food costs, higher restaurant costs when you go out. So, and the individual small businessman can't eat it. So there's no win-win for anybody here.
Let me give you an example of another problem that a small business person is going to face, or that actually their employees are going to face if they offer an employee benefit program. most employers in the small business market, groups under 50, they have what are called age-rated programs. So the employee is charged a premium based on his or her age. Okay? Now, the new program under the Obamacare administration says that the older employee, 60 and above, cannot pay more than 3 times what the younger employee, 20 and above, pays. Mm-hmm. So if the younger employee is paying $200 a month, the most the older employee could pay would be $600 a month. Now, you tell me how an insurance company is going to be able to offer benefits if they can't increase the premiums enough to cover the claims utilization. So who is going to see the biggest increase in premiums? The younger employees.
Yeah, sure, they have to.
So they're going to increase the younger employee premium so they can have the 3 times what that amount is for the older employee.
Now, this is even assuming that the young person has a job, where they have to worry about this, where they're looking at a job where they have more than 30 hours a week.
Well, with minimum wage going up, we're going to see a decrease in employment.
A decrease in employment. You're going to see a lot of people being cut down hours-wise to under 30 hours a week so they don't have to be a part of this health care scenario.
Now, let me give you an example of one company here in Kern County that's positioned extremely well in regard to the premiums for health care. They've been supplying health care to their employees for many, many years. It's a company called Mexicali. They have over 50 employees.
Know them well.
They've been supplying benefits to their employees, so they're positioned well for the new legislation. But for all those other companies, restaurants that don't have benefits, they're going to have to raise the cost to consumers to do business.
Yeah, and Mexicali, a mutual client of ours, is a company that has been on the cutting edge of this because they've managed to do everything right, but it's been a struggle for them because there are times where they appear to be a little bit higher, but they're doing everything right for the consumer and for their employees.
Well, it's also, I think, been like the number 1 rated Mexican restaurant in Kern County for many, many years, according to the Californian.
Senator Rubio gave the Republican response,
right,
which I thought was fantastic. He did a great job. One of the things he did talking about unemployment, he was talking about companies like Google and, I think he cited Google. That
Bing,
there's
Google's, Yahoo.
Yeah. Google, Yahoo, where there's high-tech jobs that can't be filled by American workers, so they're going abroad. Mm-hmm. So here it is, we have all these people that are unemployed, yet we don't have the qualified employees that companies are looking for, so we have to go elsewhere. So, that's another breakdown in the system here, in the education system, where we got a lot of people out of work, but we don't have qualified people to fill the jobs that are there.
So how do we get qualified people?
Well, we have to take a second look at our education system, which...
That's been one of the problems with Kern County for many, many years, is we just haven't got the qualified workforce to meet the requirements. That's why a lot of businesses haven't been coming to Kern County.
Sure. Well, and that's a problem nationwide. And again, you're looking at, and I know we've talked about this one before, but you're looking at the unions that have a stranglehold, unfortunately, on the politicians, and they're really resisting any change to the system. It's the status quo. And the status quo isn't keeping up with the education that needs to be done to get the qualified workers.
Well, I know the CSUB, Cal State University,
great school,
Bakersfield, has been working on this problem, and so has the Small Business Development Center. Mm-hmm. And several other organizations in town have been developing programs to help increase the educational base in Kern County. Mm-hmm. So we can bring employers. Kern Economic Development Corporation works closely, I believe, with the schools to help bring businesses to this community. But they need the support of the educational base to do that.
Right, yeah. And it's what we teach.
Hopefully that's what we're teaching.
Well, supposedly that's what we're teaching. But, and the other thing that was brought up in that speech the other night, and I was a little frustrated listening to him because there were so many things that were just blatantly untrue. But he also talked about, the perception is that the Democratic Party protects the middle class and the Republican Party is protecting the rich. And unfortunately, we haven't done anything to change that perception. And if we don't, we're going to end up being a minority party for a long, long time.
Well, Marty, I'm going to do my part. Next week I'll be in Sacramento meeting with some of the legislators, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And then the following week I'm going to be in Washington, D.C., representing the Health Underwriters Association and meeting with legislators. So I'm going to do my part to help educate some of these legislators on how we can make some changes, how we can do better for our population rather than just for the legislators.
Well, I'm going to be in Sacramento in March, and I'll be back up there in April. I'm not too sure when I'm going back to D.C., but, people have to get involved in this process. And I think the Republican Party definitely needs to appeal more to the minority community. Because when you look at the minority community, their value system is the Republican Party's value system, but we're not conveying it to them, and I think that's a big mistake that we're making, and I don't see a lot of changes in that, unfortunately.
Well, I hope you're wrong.
Well, if we don't change it, we're going to be a minority party for a long time.
Yeah, let me close with something real quick.
You got about 10 seconds.
Call 855-799-9881 if you're an employer over 50 lives and you want to qualify to not pay the penalties under Obamacare.
We will see you in 167 hours on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.